This podcast is a quest for well-being, a quest for a meaningful life through the exploration of fundamental truth. Enlightening ideas, insights on physical, mental, and spiritual health. The inspiration is love. The aspiration is to awaken new ways of thinking that can lead us to a new way of being well. Welcome to Body, Mind, and Soul Healing Conversations.
In holistic care, a person's physical, emotional, social, economic, and spiritual needs are considered, as well as their response to an illness and the effects of illness on their ability to care for themselves. There's a variety of long-term services and supports, as well as natural supports to cope with their emotional, social, and other needs. Thus, they require a coordinated and integrated approach in order to improve the outcomes. A holistic approach to healing can maximize a person's quality of life as a main outcome. Valeria interviews Amber McKinney-Morgan. She practices clinical social work in California with experience in individual and couples therapy. Amber is certified in both eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, EMDR, and Gottman Couples Therapy. In addition, Amber is an EMDRIA-approved Consultant-in-Training, CIT, providing consultation to other EMDR clinicians looking to be certified. She's penned articles for EMDRIA's Go With That magazine on incorporating EMDR, IFS, and SE when working with clients, and has spoken on the popular television show Fatal Attraction, which is anticipated to be available for audience consumption in fall of 2024. Amber has received training in various interventions and therapeutic modalities through their respective institutes and includes, but is not limited to, the Gottman Method, Emotionally Focused Therapy, EFT, Internal Family Systems, IFS, Sex Therapy, Hypnosis, Somatic Experience, SE, Cognitive Behavioral Therapy, CBT, and more. Amber's passion for the behavioral health field got put into play over 10 years ago as a child counselor at residential group homes. Since then, she's amassed experience working with individuals ages 4 and up, coping with a range of life circumstances, including trauma, homelessness, and more. If you find yourself reading this and have more questions about how therapy can support you in your life, please feel free to reach out and schedule a free 15-minute consultation. Amber appreciates you taking the time to explore your needs thus far to access the care you deserve. Meet Amber at ambermckinney.com. Here's the interview with Amber McKinney-Morgan.
How would you describe who you are in this very moment?
In this very moment, I am a therapist, which I love doing. It's my heart and soul. I am a certified Gottman therapist. In addition, I'm a certified EMDR therapist and a consultant-in-training. I'm also trained in a few various modalities. I guess I describe myself as a holistic therapist. I am a strong believer of holistic care. I think that too many times in doctors' offices or in therapist offices, we see a provider for one thing and then we have something else come up and then we refer them out to another specialist for care. And I really like to advocate against fragmented services. These clients and individuals are coming to us, opening up to us with their vulnerabilities, bearing their soul. And I take a special interest in being mindful of not having to have the client go through that over and over and over again. And so for me, I've taken a holistic approach to be able to provide one-stop shop services. I have trained in couples therapy, including Gottman and EFT modalities, individual trauma work, including EMDR. I've also been trained in IFS through their respective institute, somatic experiencing through their respective institute, sex therapy training as well. There's just so many that I bring to the table. I adapt eating disorder approaches, and I like to bring them all to the table when working with clients. Their lives aren't just one aspect, but a multitude of assets. And I like to take all those facets into consideration in tailoring the care that I provide. I've even written an article about interweaving IFS, EMDR, and somatic experiencing. Outside of that, I am a dog mom. Absolutely love, love, love. Southern California native, artistic at heart, I'm just a human being.
What makes you happy and what makes you feel successful?
Connection. To sum it up simply, connection makes me happy. To go more in depth, being able to be attuned to and in connection with others, not just the surface kind of day-to-day, hello, small talk kind of thing, but what was great about your day? What do you love to do? Sharing myself in the personal arena, in the professional arena, really just that connection, witnessing individuals and their amazing resilience and their life journeys and supporting and working with them to self-actualize makes me so happy. Gives me a respect for life.
What inspired you to become who you are and to do what you do today?
Yes, this question. There is a therapeutic cliche that everybody gets into the field to heal a part of themselves. And I think in some aspects that's true, right? So I knew I wanted to be a therapist when I was 13 years old. I went to a trauma center at a children's hospital, and a therapist talked to me. I was very closed off. I kind of knew there was some forensic interviewing, a one-way mirror and whatnot, and I was like, seeing that they were asking me questions and coloring with me at the same time. And while I was closed off and didn't go back, I said, wow, people can show up for people in that way. That is something I want to do. I looked at the injustice going on in my community, which is a highly stigmatized, low SES community that I grew up in, and saw, for example, the individual experiencing homelessness, other things, certain systems, and it just really drove me in this direction.
If you have written a book, what was the inspiration, intention, and the purpose of writing it? And where can we find your book?
Well, I haven't written a book yet, but I did write an article for the EMDR International Association's Go With That magazine, the spring 2024 edition. And it is all about interweaving EMDR with internal family systems and somatic experiencing. So that can be found online on the EMDRIA website. That is www.emdria.org.
Do you consider what you do a calling, a purpose, or a mission?
Absolutely. What I do is what I feel I was sent here on this earth to do, to have my own lived experience with struggle and resilience, and to be able to bring that authenticity of showing up for other people and their struggle and their resilience. That is absolutely my life's purpose.
Who would benefit most from your work and your message?
Anybody and everybody who's ever been through something. And I think that's everybody on this planet. Not to sound full of myself, but it's less my message and the message of rising above that I have come to learn about that would benefit others. To be able to see that in any given moment, high or low, that somebody is doing the best they can with the tools they have available to them, and to support them in acquiring whatever the tool set it is that they need to self-actualize. I think that can be beneficial for everyone.
What is like working with you from a client's perspective?
It depends on what phase in treatment they're in. In the beginning, I like to use this metaphor about group processes that I learned about in grad school. It's called storming, norming, performing, adjourning. And in the storming phase, we are in between, like, for example, with a job interview. We apply, we get the interview, we project all these idealistic ideas of what we think it will be. And then we get to the job, and maybe things aren't quite exactly what we expected. Maybe the office isn't as big as we thought, certain things like that. We call that the storming phase, not because it has to be horrible, but because it's the acclimation of our ideals with reality. And then as we stay there, there is the norming of, okay, I'm getting used to my office size and where the coffee machine is, things like that. And so we're leaning into the norms. From there, we learn to thrive. We go from surviving and getting through the day and all the different things we're trying to learn to thriving and really in the flow of things. And then lastly, we adjourn. Things come to a close, whether that's a work relationship, a personal relationship, a professional relationship of sorts. And so I like to think coming into the therapy room is a similar process. We reach out, we want to work on something, we're excited, we're nervous, we're projecting all these ideals. Maybe we think we're going to come in and address one thing, and then bam, it's going to be done and send me right back out. And it's more of a non-linear journey most of the time. And so there's that storming, there's that fear also that they see me in this power differential kind of role, which I really, really work hard to normalize, that it's not me telling you, but a collaborative process, because you know yourself best. You are informing me, and I am just showing you the cards on the table to support you in making your best decision for your life. There's that storming process, and then the norm. Okay, basic expectations, arrive on time, give me a heads up if you're going to miss, things like that. Knowing that we're going to come in, and maybe there's going to be some days that you want to take it light. That's okay. There's a fine line between being light and avoiding, and I may empathically be curious about that. But the norming is more of coming into knowing what to expect. There is the emotional safety. Then we're in the flow. Then we're performing. Then we are working through the things. There is an established rapport and trust. We are able to go deep, be able to tend to the parts of us that we so deeply protect, support them in trusting us as in the client in the present day. And then there's a journey, which a lot of people can have a hard time with. To acknowledge that there is a gain from being able to know that you have a therapist that you can call on when you're needing support, and to be able to acknowledge that you have graduated to self-sufficiency can present some scares. And so sometimes people have a hard time with adjourning. It doesn't mean the doors close forever. Life is going to happen. And by all means, reach back out to get things set up again. But to support them and knowing that they can do this without the training wheels, without the support, that's major. Clients would describe me as very compassionate, very warm. I always have a smile on my face. a slight smile even as we are working through hard things. There's something disarming and comforting about that. And I think that's what clients might say about me.
What is healing to you?
Healing is in the eye of the beholder. It's a living, breathing process that changes as we change. For me, healing is going in and retrieving the parts of me that have been burdened and wounded by hurtful events in life and developing a relationship with those parts of me, letting them know that they don't have to lead anymore, whether that's a defensive response or an avoidant response, and letting them know whatever their fear is, that I will hear them out and that I can speak for them and tend to their needs so that I am leading for them.
What is the goal of healing and what are the obstacles to it?
The goal of healing, again, is in the eye of the beholder. It is defined when the client comes into the room and can change every 3 to 6 months as things evolve. The goal is to support the clients in living their best life. And obstacles can definitely be internal and external. Sometimes there's gains to not changing, like who am I if I step outside of this identity that I've always known? Maybe there are some relationships that we lose, right? And so to acknowledge those things and work with those things and validate those things to support the client in knowing that they're making their best choice given the pros and cons. And then also there's external stressors and environmental obstacles. And again, I'm a holistic therapist, so I like to incorporate all of that into our work. I will tell people an issue does not arise on an island in and of itself. I like to look at the physical environment and how that's impacting things, financial environment, social support system. All of these things can come into play with the goals that we're working on.
What are some of the misconceptions most people have about healing?
I think that some people can fall into toxic positivity, that healing is always supposed to be happy and fun. And I like to describe it as kind of how I do with the risk and benefits of therapy, that we hear about the benefits, that like, yes, the goal is to feel better. The risk is that kind of like cleaning a room, that when you've shoved everything underneath the bed, of course, taking it out and putting it away is not going to be fun. But it's involved in the process of being able to relax and enjoy the environment that we've created for ourselves.
Do you connect healing to spirituality? And if you do, what is spirituality to you?
This has been such a big, evolving question in my life. Of course, there's research out there that shows that spirituality has a positive impact on healing. And my spirituality is undefined. It is what I make it to be, what I feel into at any point in time. I send energy out and welcome energy in. It is anything that puts me in connection with the oneness of being in this earth and myself. And that is definitely healing.
What do you feel is the purpose of the human experience?
Oof, we're getting into some deep stuff here. The purpose of the human experience. I think that each of us has a different task to accomplish. I once had a clinician tell me in my work with them that I was sent here and faced with huge obstacles to overcome, to achieve the learning that I was sent here in this lifetime to achieve. I think for everybody it's different. I think that it could lead ultimately into feeling at home within.
At this time, what is the world's greatest need?
Compassion and connection. I mean, especially after COVID, there are so many individuals that are looking to connect, to find authentic connections, that are looking on social media and just being broken from being ghosted. And I think we all want and also fear connection. We want it, of course, but there is a fear because it brings up and it mirrors back, am I enough? It mirrors our unresolved self-acceptance that we are working towards, and just how to be and be accepted by others. We need connection.
What is your vision for humanity?
My vision for humanity is to just raise the vibrations, the energy, to support each individual and unburdening the parts of them that have been wounded by life experiences, and to be whole within themselves.
What does emotional freedom look like, and how can your work help?
Emotional freedom looks like being able to validate your experience, given your perception, given where you're at, and being able to own that and walk in your footsteps bravely. Doesn't mean we don't work towards change and growth, but to give ourselves the compassion in the journey of shedding old skin and settling into new.
What is your understanding of love?
Ooh, this is a good one. Love is a positive, strong connection between you and some other aspect, right? There is our own internal self-love, and then there's, love for what we do, like career. Then there's love for others, right? To love and to be loved. And it is ideally having the courage to be vulnerable and to accept others' vulnerabilities as well.
Is world peace possible without individual inner peace? Please elaborate on the concept of peace.
To be honest with you, this may not be a popular or Miss America opinion, but I don't know if world peace is possible. It's a nice ideal, but also world peace requires everybody be on a good page, and what is a good page for some is not a good page for others. Peace for me is stillness, is presence, is acceptance. Even if it's something hard, to be able to embrace and say, there is no moment outside of now. And so it is. And I trust that this journey has some value in it. It's being able to be. It's quieting the monkey mind. It is being satisfied with ourselves at any stage of growth. And maybe peace is being okay with the world never 100% reaching this ideal.
What, where, and who is God to you?
My vision of God has changed over time and grew from being a cis hetero white man to more of a entity beyond vision and words, something that I can just feel. And that is everywhere, all around us. We just have to tap into it.
What is consciousness?
Consciousness is being aware and being present to me. There are subconscious motivations and drives and dreams and things like that. Consciousness is the awareness of what is. It is awakening to the present moment. I like to tell people a lot of our mind is kind of either in the future or the past, and the future is anxiety-based and the past is depression-based. The future is what if anxiety, what if this happened, or worst case scenario. And the past is I should have, right? Something we can't do much of anything about erasing from back then. Consciousness is being able to be present and aware and here in the here and now.
What is the difference between the subconscious mind and the unconscious mind?
The subconscious mind is underlying drivers and motivating factors that we then project into our actions and behaviors. And kind of like when we self-sabotage, there's a part of us that is afraid of being able to succeed. That I would think is a subconscious driver. Unconscious is kind of like things that we don't have access to. We're not able to introspect, and sometimes historically there are memory gaps and things like that we can't really introspect on. And that's what my definition of that is.
What do you feel is the nature of our innate desire for human connection and spiritual truth?
I think our innate desire is to be loved and love and to be in connection. I mean, primally, we can't survive. You can't drop a baby in the middle of an island and expect that baby to survive without human connection. I mean, there's the wire monkey experiment, right? That the baby monkeys would rather go to the sock monkey with no milk than the wire monkey with milk. Connection and love is a part of our very existence and survival.
Is the authentic self or the true self the spiritual self?
The authentic self and the spiritual self, I do believe, is our true self, that is walking in our truth, and our relationship with spirituality is what makes sense to us, what fits us. And I do believe they are one and the same.
How do we recognize when body and mind are aligned with our true self?
Oh, the somatics, don't even get me started on that. Like I said, I did a whole article on incorporating somatic experiencing. Okay, so let me break it down. Basically, when there is something that doesn't feel like it resonates with us, specifically, for example, a threat, the limbic system of our brain kind of controls for this. It activates what's called the autonomic nervous system, and that system carries out physiological responses. And when something doesn't sit well with us, it activates our sympathetic arousal, which, contrary to belief, is the kind of heightening of emotions, the muscles tense, the fight or flight kind of syndrome. And so when that happens, our body mind is out of alignment with our safety, our truth, ourselves. Something is happening that does not resonate with us, right? And the more the body feels these sensations, the more distress signals kind of go back to the brain and inform the brain. And it just forms a feedback loop, so on and so forth. Sometimes we can have a chronically out of balance nervous system. And when this goes unaddressed, the brain begins to develop this way of functioning as like a baseline, and it impacts our memory and other kind of functions. It becomes conditioned. These body-based cues, we can walk into a room and our stomach sinks and we don't know why, we can't put our finger on it. There is a body memory that happens. And that settling into of this type of survival state is the hallmark of trauma, right? When the body-mind is in alignment, there is a flow. We can feel it. And when it's out, it definitely lets us know.
Talk to me some more about your offerings and services. Do you meet your clients in person and remotely? Do you offer group and corporate coaching?
Yes, I have an array of services. My services are as holistic as my modalities and my approach. I work with kiddos and teens. I also work with adults of all age ranges. I work with individuals and couples. From here and there, I will work with family systems, and I've also done groups historically. If I get enough individuals interested, I might consider doing groups. I also do coaching. Coaching for getting into private practice, coaching for people just wanting to work on their goals, attaining their goals without doing kind of like the mental work around that. I also provide support to associate therapists looking to attain hours, and also to individuals looking to get certified in EMDR. I provide consultation.
Where can we find more information about you, your work, products, services, and future projects?
Yes. So if you want to find out more about me, please visit www.ambermckinney.com. That's www.ambermckinney.com. On there, you can find more information about my services, my approach, couple marathon family sessions where you can just fly me out to your area. Of course, if it's in a state that I'm licensed to practice in, and we can do whole weekend deep dives into unpacking and doing the work. And I do that same offering for EMDR.
Ultimately, what is freedom to you?
Freedom is living in alignment with our one true self. In internal family systems, the 8 C's personify self. And when we are in self, we are at our highest, most aligned kind of point. And so just to break it down, the 8 C's include creativity, right? Being able to express in whatever way, right? But also with compassion and curiosity and courage, confidence, that calm, and that clarity. That is what that means to me.
If life had one purpose only, what would that be?
It is to keep going. The show must go on. It is continuing to move forward and create new experiences. It is to survive.
What experiences you wish everyone to have before they lose the body, before they die?
I wish. It is my highest wish that everyone experiences self-love.
Thank you so much for your presence and for our meaningful collaboration and connection.
Thank you for listening. To learn more about Amber McKinney-Morgan and her work, please visit ambermckinney.com.
learn more about this podcast, please visit fitforjoy.org/podcast. Thank you again for listening, and bye for now.